So here's what we got going on. It won't do nothing. This video, we're going to talk about ignition switches. We're going to talk about corroded fuses. I'm going to show you the coolest trick you ever seen for corroded terminals, relay terminals. I'm also show you how to test relays with this cool, simple tool. So this customer hooked up a battery cable to the positive side, took his solenoid off, and he's been jumping this terminal over here to the starter solenoid. He's got it down there, and he's been jumping it off right there. Now, I'm going to show you why he's been doing that or what's actually wrong with this machine. We've got a bunch of corroded up fuses or relay. We're going to talk about that. Welcome back to Rayleigh's Small Engines. I'm T-Bone, and this is your Get to the Point channel. Okay, so it started raining. I went out there. I said, well, right off the bat, when I cut the key on, I'd already checked with my test light the fuses. We're going to go over all that. I had no hour meter even come up. I said, well, tell you what. Let me go ahead and just plug in a new ignition switch. And I had one in stock, so I plugged one in. I had hour meter. I hit the key, it went to turn the engine over. I'm like, cool. So anyway, it started raining. So I come in, went back, and I got on it. And I'm like, well, I just go and pull it in the shop so we can video. Well, hit the key, nothing happened. And I'm like, what is going on here? So I grabbed the brake over here. I grabbed the brake and I go like this. I finally got the stupid thing to start. Well, then I take the brake off and the machine would die. I kept fooling with it. Well, it finally started working. Okay, so I'm thinking, yeah, I got a bad brake switch. All right, no problem. Got that so it would stay running. And then guess what? I went to move it and this handle was locked slam up. You see, it's just flopping now. I'm going to show you why. So if any of you got those little shocks on your toolboxes or whatever, these little shocks right down here, the shock for this other side over here was froze up. The way I found that out, it just pulled the doggone thing out. So I come over here, put it in the vise. I got some of this air crawl, sprayed it down, pliers and a hammer, and finally got the doggone thing freed up. Yes, it's still bad, but at least the darn thing will work for right now. All right, so right now, no hour meter with the key on. It won't do nothing, okay? So I got one in stock. Like I said, I just went out there, plugged it in, and it would start, then it quit. Okay, so we knew the switch was bad. I'm going to show you a little bit about these switches a little bit later on in the video, but basically you don't just order any key switch. Make sure you look it up for the model number of your machine, because even though the back of the terminals looks like it'll plug into your machine, the terminals can be wired or made differently in the switches. Now, let's come around and talk about this safety switch. So this safety switch, since I kept fooling with this, and it finally went ahead and started. So let me show you what this geniuses did. They wanted to make it really easy for a homeowner. Oh, just so you know, the big plastic cover that was here, a few screws, and I took it off and laid it back there. But look at this. They riveted the doggone switch to this plate. Look at that. Oh, fun. So anyhow, I've got a new safety switch. Again, look up the correct one for your machine. These are really easy to test. This one will test good, but only after I've worked it back and forth, it starts working. Basically what you're doing here on these switches, I'm gonna get my voltmeter up here. You're gonna test between here to here. It'll either have continuity or it doesn't. And then once you mash the button, it'll switch. This one say has continuity, this one doesn't. When you mash the switch in, that won't have continuity and this one will. Let me show you. I'm gonna hook this right up. And down on the voltmeter, you're looking for the horseshoe mode, the ohm setting. This particular one will beep. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do, see right there, I've got continuity. No continuity. Continuity, no continuity. Now, this other side, no continuity, continuity. Got it? Some of these switches are gray. They'll operate like this. The ones that are black will probably be opposite 90% of the time. But again, just look up the correct one for your machine. So now for the fun, let's drill out some rivets, and we're going to replace this switch. So if you want a good set of bits, Norseman, I'll see if I can find a link. Made in USA. Those cheapy bits you buy around these different places, they're junk. Anyhow, so we're going to drill this out. Now, if you don't have a rivet gun, now, I mean, you can fool around with a chisel or something to get these things out. But if you don't have a rivet gun, you can always put a little machine screw and nut. If I can hold it in the darn hole. There we go. The whole rivet's turning is what's going on. I was going to drill a hole in my finger. Did we get it? Look at there. I fixed safety switch. Good. Now that I have a rivet that'll fit. All right. We're going to try and get us a rivet. Rivet. And make sure you get this back in the right spot. Again, if you don't have a rivet gun, you can use some machine screws. Let's see if this is going to fix it. This one. Let's see if we can line this other one up. Perfect. Look like a professional did this, huh? I know some. I'll make a smart ass comment. I don't care. And there she goes. Let's throw these on the floor so you can get a hole in your tire. And we have one new switch. I'm gonna get some spray and blow that out right quick. Just some brake cleaner. I got a cool trick to show y'all over there with those fuses. And this will dry really quick. Ain't gonna hurt a thing, folks. And but those fuses are so corroded. And where the fuses plug in is all corroded inside also. But the cool, that's the wrong screw. Where did the right screw go? Anyway, I'm going to show you how to clean those little inner terminals to where it plugs in. That way you know you got a good connection. So here's my little trick. See how those fuses terminals are real corroded right here? And you know the inside is the same way. So go down to the parts store and tell them you want some valve lapping compound. And a little dab of dew. Put your little valve lapping compound on there and stick it in, pull it out. You know what you're doing? You're basically sanding out those terminals till they're nice and clean. And you tell me that ain't a neat trick. That one is a T-bone original. Ain't nobody ever done that before. Now when you're done, they're like, well, what about all the mess everywhere? Well, then handy dandy brake cleaner and the same thing in the terminal or terminal cleaner, whatever you want to use, and blow that bad boy out. No better. All right, this is the handy dandiest tool you ever seen, and I'm gonna put a link right down in the description to one of these. It's a relay tester, and I haven't done this obviously yet, but I'm gonna do that with the lapping compound also. The way this tester works, you'll just hook up to your battery, just like that. Got a nice little red light on. Just whatever, your regular square relays fits that hole. I haven't even used that one yet. This is the one fits like the John Deere's plug that in and hit test. And if you can hear it, see, you can hear it there by the mic. It just flicks it on and off. It tells you that one is good. Now, if it's red, it's bad. And you got to switch there for a 5-pin, 4-pin. So we know that relay is good. So a lot of these small engine groups and stuff on Facebook, somebody will say, I've got this problem, I've got that problem. They'll say, oh, replace this, replace that, replace this, that'll fix it. They don't know. That's just dumb, in my opinion. You've got to test it and see if it's bad. A lot of people always say, oh, replace your seat switch. Well, that's fine, they're cheap enough, but how about let's test the doggone thing? Right back to the ohm setting on your meter, you connect it, it beeps. If it's not, it don't. The way you're gonna test the seat switch is the same way. And you don't have to have no fancy meter. You can get one of them little $5 cheap meters to do the same thing. And all I'm gonna do is reach up here and push on the seat. Can y'all hear the beep? That seat switch is good. So you just learned how to test the 4-pin switches and your seat switches the right way. Now, let me get this ignition switch going and pop that in right quick. But we're gonna go over and we're gonna talk about how to know the differences in an ignition switch and the codes that are on the back. Well, I just got a random key switch off the shelf. What you want to check on your old and your new switch is the little codes, and I'm gonna put you a picture up right there that'll show you what a lot of these mean. Now let's see if we can zoom in here, take a closer look, and can you see that little S right there on that terminal? That's for start. Let's see if I can show you another one. Daggum. Now, if you look on this one, and you can see in there, there is a M. This is really hard to film. Now let's turn this around and see the gold one. G is not for gold, G is for ground. And that other back terminal beside that is a L, that's for lights. But basically what all these go to, you'll see in that picture right there on your right side. So when you get your new switch, order it by the model number of your machine to make sure you get the correct one. When you get your new one in, pull your old one off and double check that those match exactly, and you won't have any trouble with your new switch. So if you're replacing these little shocks, all you need is a screwdriver to get these things off. Let me show you. You know, they got the little ball that it snaps onto, and all you do is take a screwdriver and pry this up a little bit, the little keeper, and then pop it off. That's all it is to it. When you get ready to put it back on, get you a hammer, and you know, every tool is a hammer except for a screwdriver, and that's a pry bar. All right, so we're gonna stick this back in somewhere, and you see, and then whack, just like that. Now you're not gonna be able to see this backside, I doubt. I think that pushed right on, perfect. Well, let's see if it's gonna work. I guess I'm gonna plug the switch up. Plug the switch up. It don't matter if this is down or not, really. Brake on. We got power. This machine's only got 233 hours. Really? I gotta show you this. Come over here and look at this. You're supposed to have choke right here. You know, you push throttle all the way forward. I don't know. I ain't even looked back there yet. But they've got a choke cable hooked in here. And I found out too, look. No air filter. Don't know. Somebody's been under the cover though. Screw missing over there and not even tight there. Appreciate you guys tuning into Rayleigh's Small Engines. I'm T-Bone. This is your Get to the Point channel. Please click that subscribe button. Leave us a thumbs up. Leave some comments down below. Let us know what you guys do to clean up your fuses and test your relays and stuff. Of course, you can do it with a voltmeter. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time. I'm going to get this booger put together.